introduce myself. I am Sharath. I take care of pre-sales South Asia for Riverbed Steel Central suite of products. Now, Riverbed as a company is all about performance. Some of you would already be aware about a product called Steelhead. It's our flagship van acceleration, van optimization solution which has a market dominance. Not many people are aware that we are also into performance management and giving you visibility around end user experience, right? Like we said in the panel discussion a couple of seconds before, speed is the name of the game. Speed and reliability, two paramount things for performance management. Imagine investing in an application, a business critical application, and later you come to know that the application is really not delivering how you expected it to deliver. Somewhere down the line, SLAs are not being met. Somewhere down the line, the users, external and internal, are not happy with the way your application is delivering, the way your application on top of your network is being accessed. Maybe it is too slow, maybe it is not doing what it is supposed to do. And that's a bad thing to be in, right? I will talk about how we as a company can help you get visibility into your end user experience and also into your application and network performance management. Single dashboard based solution, a single pane of glass. You don't have to worry about this is my network monitoring solution, or this is how my applications are doing, this is how my virtualized apps are doing, this is how my cloud apps are doing, this is how my network is doing, this is how my end user is doing. You don't have to worry about all those complexities because that is our job to take care of. We ensure that you only have a single dashboard with correlated data which will help you in quicker analysis, better turnaround time for the IT teams, better or reduced MTTR, and a lot of benefits, which I'm going to talk about. Before we get into this journey, a quick announcement, which I forgot, is there are feedback forms available on a table. Please fill them up, and you can hand it over to me or to the Riverbed counter on the left side of the door. So, before we go deeper into this journey, there are three key statistics that I want to take a focus to. 75%, 70%, 31%. 75% of IT organizations have degraded applications. Out of the 100 companies that you know, 75 might be having one or more than one degraded application. Application that was designed to do a certain task, application that you paid for to do a certain task, but it is not delivering. It is slow, it is unresponsive, it takes long amount of time to complete a particular transaction. This is bad, right? 70% of the time, the problem is made aware by the end users. We designed an application, we designed the network, we create the whole infrastructure so that our end users are happy. Now imagine something. Imagine accessing Facebook, right? 90% of the time if Facebook is not opening or is not reachable, would you still be using it? Some of you might still use it, but most of you might not want to use it if there is a competitive social networking solution available, right? You don't want your end users to raise trouble tickets, to call you up, or to call your IT organizations, IT teams, and telling them that the application is not working. That is the last state that you want to be in. You want to start a proactive way of monitoring and measuring how your application and network are performing and how happy are your end users. Like I said, speed is the name of the game and reliability are the two paramount things that we have to focus on. 31% of the time, and I've actually seen this in my life, I've actually seen this, companies are not able to understand what is the performance challenge. 31% of the time, it takes more than 30 days to solve a performance complaint. And some of the time, it's unsolvable. It's unsolvable because the problem just goes away and you really don't have the logs or the data to actually pinpoint the issue. And that problem comes back again. That problem comes back again to haunt the IT teams. That is again a bad situation to be in because, so I'll give you an example. Most of the companies that I've seen worrying about performance and speed The best case scenario is increase the bandwidth, right? Application is slow from a particular branch office, increase the bandwidth. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. You pay money for increasing the bandwidth or optimizing it, but then this is not certain that the increase in bandwidth will improve the performance of the application. You need to understand what is choking your network, what is choking your application. Only then will you have a correct scientific way of measuring and understanding what is causing the slowness. You just don't want to go run a blind race, right? I cannot tie a piece of cloth around your eyes and ask you to walk in this room, right? That is a sure candidate of failure. You will hit a table or a wall. 31% of the time, problems cannot be solved or takes more than a month to solve. Now, these are some of the articles that I captured from the recent newspapers and news articles of some really, really efficient companies, but they had suffered a bit due to problems around performance. Some business critical applications, some business critical functions were not delivering. Some end user facing applications, end user facing statistics were not delivering, right? NASDAQ, connectivity issue, network issue, bad. JetBlue, system failure. You cannot reserve your tickets, business loss, money gone. And then healthcare.gov, very famous. Not a good application design. 3 different scenarios over here. Application issue, network issue, and a very, very bad application architecture. But how do you detect all these, right? Traditionally, most of the companies have been using solution in silos, and because you're using solution in silos, the problem is, let's say, I'll give you a simple scenario. You would have been a victim of this scenario, maybe, but imagine this. As a user, if I raise a trouble ticket, or if I call up someone, this application is slow, email is slow, maybe my Salesforce is slow, or maybe something is slow, but then how do you identify what is slow? How do you actually tell this is slow because of X, Y, Z? This is slow because of my network. This is slow because of DNS resolution. This is slow because of packet loss. How do you correlate it? And usually because of the difficulty in correlating this situation is very common. Firefighting. This is not my problem, this is your problem, this is not your problem, this is their problem, this is not their problem, this is again my problem. Everybody just tries to douse up the fire from their table. They're not worried as an organization, or they're not worried overall, how can we improve the performance? Because it's not their problem, it is, or it's not their issue, because the solution that they have, the data that they have can only give them visibility onto a certain aspect. Now the networking guy will only see what is wrong in my network. He'll never understand what is wrong in the code. A code developer or an application operations guy will never really understand what is wrong in the firewall side. Packet drop, what are packets? Java.NET, what is Java.NET? So there is a lot of disconnect between the teams. And we, some way, increase that deficit or increase that gap by using solutions which are in silos. We use a solution for network monitoring, we use a solution for database monitoring, and that really, really complexifies the entire situation. Now, without getting into much technical details, I'll show you a quick example of how a transaction is made, right? A simple web-based transaction, you click on a browser button, you can even try it from your phone, you click on a browser button, and the request goes to the server, shows you the data. Now, there are a lot of steps behind this, and you just can't use a single solution to measure it, which is right. But then you need a way, or you need a solution which can understand all these bits and pieces, ties it together, and presents the answers to you. You don't want, in this age, where your phones are now running on 4G speed, to still work on a legacy speed, right? You don't want to wait for days to troubleshoot a problem. And as you can see, the entire transaction has different metrics. You have packets, you have code, you have database queries, you have remote calls, tons of metrics. And you don't want to, you do not want your team to die by metrics, right? You do not want them to die by 1,000 cuts. You want a solution which can help you in correlating the problem. Now, what I'm trying to show you over here is the traditional way of monitoring or measuring the performance. The traditional way of understanding, is my application good, good enough, or this is how I expected my application to be. Now, the traditional way has some flaws. And the flaws are, because again, as you are using the solution in silos over here, because you're using the solution in silos, there is no common language. Now, all of us over here might be from different states, might have different languages, but now the language that I'm speaking is something that everybody understands. This is the common language of business right now. This is the common language which is tying up together. It is helping me express my thoughts to you. The same thing has to be there in an IT organization or an organization, IT teams, right? You need a way in which each team can understand the other team. You don't want a situation in which team 1 says, not my problem, team 2 says, not my problem, team 3, not my problem. The user is still suffering, the problem goes away, comes back again after 3 months, again it is on your table, the application is not performing, the network is not performing. So this was the traditional way, point solutions for network monitoring, application monitoring, end user monitoring, database monitoring, etc., etc. But now, the world is becoming very complex, right? The applications are becoming very complex. Service-oriented architecture, IMS, things are making application architecture extremely, extremely complex. We do have some benefits of it, speed, easy access, stuff like this, but then somewhere down the line, performance gets hit. And it is the performance which gives or generates money, right? Now, if you see over here, very complex architecture, and this is not even as complex as it would be in your organizations. You might have a lot of other servers over here spread across different geography, database clusters, etc. But then, it is important in such a situation to measure your end user experience, to understand if end users are even happy accessing the application that you have designed for them, that you have paid the money for, that your team is working hard on the back end to support. Is that application even giving the value it is supposed to give? Is the network on which the application is riding efficient enough for that application, or is your application efficient enough to be delivered over that network? You might have an excellent network. You might not have an optimized application. You might have an application which is excellent, but you again might not have a network which is optimized. Or you might have an excellent application and network, but maybe your application is not supported over Windows Phone. Maybe most of your users are using Windows Phone. Then what? Then what? Your end user is still suffering. So it is very, very important to understand how exactly your application, your network, your end users are perceiving the application and where exactly the problem is. Because once you know the problem, once you have the visibility, it is very easy to solve it. So I'll give you an example. When you go to a doctor, do you go up to a doctor and tell him, fix me? Fix me, but fix me for what? Fever? Common cold? What? The same way, when your IT teams get a user complaint, you want them to be enabled in a way in which they can actually say, oh, you know what, you have a problem because this thing is slow. You have a problem because this application code is slow. You have a problem because our switch is having packet drops. You don't want them to be in a situation like this. Fix me, right? This is the eyes of your monitoring. This is how a monitoring should be done according to me. You want a correlated information which will give you a pinpointed result, which will tell you do this and get rid of the problem. Do that and get rid of the problem forever. Not for 1 minute, not for 10 minutes, but forever. Now, how do we do it? Well, basically, what we have done is, we have the Steel Central Suite, which is our set of products, set of modules, very, very cohesive. They all integrate together and paint a common picture. So you will have a single dashboard. No matter how many modules you have, no matter how complex your application and network architecture is, no matter how your application is being delivered, and no matter how your users are using the application, BYOD, Mobile 2.0, no matter how your users are using the application, you will still get a correlated picture. You will be able to see how are my end users, even if they are remote users, mobile users, doesn't matter. How is my network performing? And this information is getting tied up together. So I've tried to depict this through these fluorescent lines over here. Not sure if this is clear, but this is what cohesiveness means. Everything gets tied onto my application performance, and then I can eventually see if my application is getting delivered in the time I wanted it to deliver. Maybe in my UAT and test environment, and as a CIO, I would have seen the results and I was very happy with it. Oh, this application is excellent. This will help us get more revenue, more ROI, but then when the application is deployed, we spend money again to troubleshoot the problem. We spend our IT budgets understanding where the problem is. Our IT resources are focused again on troubleshooting, and there is a disconnect between test teams, production team, environment, operations team. Why should there be a disconnect, right? Why should there be a disconnect? That's my question. Now, using this, you get a complete picture of how your application is performing or how your network is delivering your application, and if at all there is a problem, where the problem is. What should you do in order to get the problem resolved? So, the Riverbed advantage. Why us? Well, us, because, like I said, a single dashboard. You don't want 10 different dashboards, right? You don't want 10 different dashboards. Now, if you want 10 different dashboards, and if you think your team can manage 10 different dashboards, why don't you try checking your emails from 10 different laptops concurrently, right? There. Now, that is where a single dashboard, a single pane of glass, a single go-to solution helps. What we additionally do is, we have brought in the concept of big data on the performance management side. So no matter how many transactions you have, even if you have billions or trillions of transactions, each and every transaction is getting stored, getting indexed. And you can quickly search for that transaction. You can quickly look up a username who's having a problem or a branch office and actually understand what is the flaw, where exactly is the problem happening. Is that not something related to my application, etc., but is it something related to my user education? Is my user not able to use my application? Maybe so. So the big data gives you that insight. Our analytics gives you that visibility. What we also do is, this is something I've been stressing a lot, we try to get metrics, we try to get data from application servers, database servers, networks, routers, switches, end users, mobile phones, etc., everywhere. And we tie it together. We tie it together like a chef cooks a dish for you. We are your application or performance doctors. We are your performance chefs. Riverbed, each and every guy that you see from Riverbed is your performance doctor, is your performance chef. And what we additionally do is, we can also accelerate your application. Now imagine not only monitoring or getting visibility into your application, but if something is slow, by click of a button, you can actually accelerate it. So if something is taking 10 seconds and you know that 10 seconds is slow, why can't you optimize it? Why can't you just immediately just click of a button and accelerate that? That is the capability we have. It is not just monitoring, it is also optimization. Monitoring, visibility, measurement, scientific analysis, optimize if this is not optimized. That is what we bring into the table, ladies and gentlemen. These are some of the industry recognition that we have received. I have just put in 4 recognition over here, there are a couple of more. You will be able to get those details on our website, or you can email me. I'll share my cards with you. But if you see over here, this one is important for us. This one is important because we are the only company who have been rated as leaders by Gartner in application performance management vertical and also in network performance management verticals. And that speaks volumes about the kind of analysis we are able to give you and the kind of dashboard and results that we are able to provide you. Yeah? I just have 2 more slides left. I do not want to take much of your time. But if you see over here, this is one case study. I'm not going to go deep into it, but if you see over here, 76% of e-commerce customers have actually reduced their MTTR by 5x. One of our solution is able to save, on an average, 11% of IT budget. How do we do it? How does a monitoring solution, how does analytical solution help you save IT budget? Now, that's an important question. It helps you save IT budget because you get visibility into how your application and network are performing. How are they being delivered? Where is the problem? And before it impacts your business critical application, it impacts the user you love the most, you come to know about the problem and you quickly resolve it, right? I am open to take any questions. I do not know how much time I have. It's over? Okay, can I take about 2 questions if there are any? And then I can meet you all. You can call me and call my name. Sharath is my name. And you can let me know if you have a problem. Just one? Okay, just one question.
All right, one quick question. Anybody with a question, please raise your hand. I'll make sure I have the mic sent over to you.
Okay. So.
Just one. All right, here we go.
That first slide on Gartner, 75%.
Can you go to slide number 1 from there? That'll be quicker. Yeah, this one?
75% of the applications don't run properly, is it? What
Yeah.
is that?
They are suffering from degraded issues. So let's say, for example, if your SLA is 2 seconds, maybe that application is taking about 2.5 seconds or 3 seconds or 10, 20 seconds.
Okay, which means 80 or 90% of these applications come from the top 20 or 30 companies. So what we are inferring that they are giving us wrong input or they are giving us the wrong product?
That's a very, very interesting analysis, and that's a very interesting question. Now, I'll answer your question without being political. So this result was done by IDG. Now, they would have definitely taken a snapshot of the customers they love, right? Now, the snapshot of the customers they love might be actually having a performance problem. It is quite possible that in your organization, all the applications that you have, every application is running within the stipulated SLA, which is great, which is actually great if everything is running as is. But in case of customers where this is not happening the way it should, maybe it is because of these 2 issues, right? So, I'm not saying go blindly with these analyses. Nope. If you have a performance challenge in your organization, and if you have an application that is degraded, any application, talk to us. Maybe we can help you enhance the productivity and performance of that application. That is the theme. Does that answer your question, sir? No problem.